gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go 3 abreast.
It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got 'em for a rep. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again. It's MRN's Wing Nation Weekend, presented by Hefner Racing Products, setting you up for the big race weekend. And wow, we've got a dandy coming up, that's for sure. Wrapping up the Independence Day holiday weekend, the second half of the 2-week celebration seems, a 2-weekend celebration seems like this year. And man, a lot of great racing along the way. Erin, Evernham, and Steve Post. And Erin, I am telling you, Pennsylvania Speed Weeks has not disappointed.
No.
The racing has been phenomenal. The stories, the big guys, the little guys, it's just been, it's every morning you wake up and you watch the races along the way, and then you wake up and you see fans with Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell and Casey Kane. Man, there's a lot of good stuff happening in Pennsylvania.
There is, and there's a lot of stories within the stories. You hear about the guy who came from the back and ended up top 5, or I don't know, some of the fan stories like you're talking about. It's just such a neat time in Pennsylvania for this 10 nights in a row of racing.
Yeah, and they're getting their snoot full, that's for sure. And it is good stuff along the way. Attica All-Star Circuit of Champions, one of their marquee races, the Lou Blaney Memorial at Sharon Speedway. Our buddies with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, they're going to meet the Bear.
Ugh.
Yeah, the Grizzly Nationals.
One time, you don't really want to go to Victory Lane.
Yeah, where Victory Lane is more fearful than being on the race. They did a tweet earlier this week. The only racetrack where getting out of the car is the most fearful part in Victory Lane. And World of Outlaws gearing up for the month of money there at Cedar Lake. And we'll talk a little bit about that. A special tip to Jason Johnson at Cedar Lake this week. So it's going to be great as well. Big weekend along the way. And when we get done with this weekend, we get into the month of money. So who better to talk to than the man that kicks off the month of money, if you will. He's the promoter of Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic Tuesday night at Attica, and just all-around good guy and one of the top ambassadors and analysts in the sport. Brad Doty, he joins us next.
No matter what or where you race, Hefner Racing Products and HRP Wings has you covered. Built in the USA, HRP is the manufacturer of the original recessed rivet wing, including their premier Shark Wing series, as well as the new Racer Series Sprint Car Wing. Hefner Racing Products wings are available for sprint cars, mini and micro sprints, winged outlaw karts, and junior sprints. HRP is the leader in mule conversions, manufactures and sells a full line of sprint car components, including Nerf bars and bumpers, front axles, precision laser cut chassis building tabs, brackets, tubes, and spuds. HRP has the absolute largest selection of trailer and shop accessories available to sprint car racers. When it comes to setting up your trailer or shop, HRP is the choice for the best in trailer and shop storage and organization accessories. Hefner Racing Products. Visit them and shop online at hrpracing.com.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
Now back to the Wing Nation Weekend Podcast, presented by Hefner Racing Products.
Welcome back. It is MRN's Wing Nation Weekend, presented by Hefner Racing Products. You can find out more from our friends at Hefner at www.hrpracing.com. That's hrpracing.com. Yes, a big weekend coming up, and then a big week next week, and on through the month of money. And who better to talk about all things sprint car, including his race on Tuesday night at Attica, and our good friend Brad Doty's on the line. Hello, Brad. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, thanks for having me on, you guys.
All right, Brad, how's the weather looking? I know that's what every promoter's worried about. What are you seeing there on the weather apps, and how many weather apps are you using?
Oh my gosh. 1 o'clock this morning, I made a big mistake, and still up, and I jumped on and checked, I won't even name it, but one of them, and a day ago it was looking really good,
Oh, boy.
And at 1 a.m. it showed like 70% chance Tuesday and Wednesday, and I freaked out. I couldn't sleep, and I get up this morning and it's still showing. But I checked 3 other ones, and the other 3 show sunshine and mid 80s, and so I realize it's way too far out to even worry about, but I made a big mistake and had to look.
You do it to yourself. That's the problem.
You lost a night of sleep over it.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted. That's really crazy.
Well, we're all racers. We all do the same thing.
Yeah, unreal.
Oh, gosh.
Unreal.
We had a conversation with Pittman at the Jackson Nationals about weather and how much he pays attention to it with all the rainouts they've had. And he said he has like a love or hate relationship. He's either off and won't do it at all, or he's like the rest of us who looks 25 times a day. We're all the same. Brad, tell us, leading up to the race, what do you have going on? I know there's a lot of sponsorship behind it. I've seen things about where to camp and buy tickets. Just talk about the build up to the big event.
Yeah, it's there's a lot more to it than a lot of people realize. As a matter of fact, I have a lunch meeting here as soon as I'm done with this with one of the sponsors, and we've worked really hard to get some sponsors involved and marketing partners, and I've been very, very fortunate to get to line up a lot of people that really help offset the cost of putting on the race, and just making sure that they have what they need and the tickets they need and are just taken care of. And so we've been doing a lot of that, press releases, firing those out and working with Brian Lisky, who writes those up and getting them right, and just taking care of that kind of stuff. That's my job. Promoter John Boris and Rex Lejeune, the general manager, they run that track weekly, and they've got that part handled. I don't worry about what they do or how they do it and stuff. But my job's pretty much taking care of the sponsors and just helping promote, get the word out. And Steph Linder does a fantastic job on social media for Attica Raceway Park, and she just put out a video. I don't even know if you guys have seen it. I did a interview in front of one of the banners at Attica, and she showed footage of my crash and how it all started, and that's out there today. And she just comes up with some great ideas to help promote the event.
Steph Linder, I'm telling you, you want to know how to do social media for a racetrack. That was all you need. That's 2 words. Stephanie Linder. That's all. Stephanie Linder, she's phenomenal. She is, I'm telling you, and I know Rex and John appreciate her very, very much, but I'm telling you, she's gold. She really is as far as that goes. Brad, I was just looking, we have the graphic on a screen for those people watching. 30th annual? Does that even seem possible?
No, it doesn't. That's the scary part, how fast time has gone by. And the scary part for me, too, is, that we put this all in perspective or what it's all about. Like I said, the first one was a benefit after my accident. So it kind of scares me or sets me back when I think, I've spent basically half my life in this wheelchair. I turned 31 in the hospital, about a week after I got hurt. So, when I look at that end of it, it's like, holy cow, where is the time going? But I've been very fortunate to stay involved in the sport, as you both well know, and that makes me happy. And then being involved in this race, I can be happy. Depends on the weather.
Wow. The 30th annual. Brad, what does the race mean to you, aside from all the work that you put into it, and like you mentioned, still staying part of the sprint car world, but what does the race mean to you when they're 4 wide before the A main and it's your race? It's the Brad Doty Classic. That's got to be very special.
It is, but I have to admit, it's kind of weird to promote my own name or the race, having my name involved. And I try to hashtag the BD Classic, when I do stuff on Twitter, because it's a little weird. Like I said, it's sound like a lot of self-promotion, but it's all about the race. But it just definitely, when they go 4 wide and they're about ready to go green on the A main, and you see the crowd's reaction, and at any World of Outlaws race, but when it's named in your honor, and you've been a big part of putting it on, and hopefully it's successful, it's huge, Erin. I mean, it I get emotional. I mean, it means a lot. And then, some of the drivers who have won it have gotten emotional in victory lane, and it just shows me how much the event means to those guys. And it's a lot of build up, months and months and months build up, and it is a big relief when it's over. But man, is it rewarding when it's goes off right and it's a success.
Lots of respect for the event, and the drivers take lots of respect in winning it. But, Brad, I know you're not going to say it, but I know Erin and I believe there's a lot of respect for you is what it is and what you've meant to the sport as far as a driver goes. And then as we could talk about commentator, we could talk about columnist. I'll choose ambassador because of what you've done. And let's talk a little bit about the sport in general. Brad, just, we're in July now. What's your take on the first half of the year? What you've seen, what you like? I mean, we've had a little bit of everything, that's for sure.
Yeah, too many rainouts, as
yes.
you guys know. As a driver, you're trying to make a living on the World of Outlaws tour, and boy, the rainouts, it just, it really hits the pocketbook. And then you think of the car owners out there who are paying motel bills and feeding the crew, and they're on the road for months and not racing. That's what comes to mind. But boy, when they do get the races in, the crowds have been incredible. The car counts have been good. And, it's, the unfortunate accident with Jason Johnson, still thinking of Bobby and Jax. Yep. That opened a lot of people's eyes to, the rainouts aren't that important and the, the big picture. But, the sport's in a good place, it seems like. And we just got to keep the rain away.
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
truth.
Brad, on Tuesday we talked with Trey Starks and Cole Duncan, and afterwards, Postman and I had a conversation about how humble and respectful and appreciative and passionate some of these young racers are, and how you don't really see it in other forms of motorsports. And then even with the passing of Jason Johnson, you just saw the sprint car family just wrap their arms around Bobby and Jackson, everybody. You're an ambassador of the sport. Talk about just the sprint car family and the young drivers and how they seem to be so appreciative and, like we said, humble coming up.
Well, I just finishing up my column for Sprint Car and Midget Magazine, and the title is Why We Race, and trying to put into words, and I even mentioned that it's hard to put into words, of why we do what we do after an accident, or tragedy like Jason's and that kind of thing. And my family isn't big race fans and doesn't really get involved. And my 18-year-old daughter, I had her kind of read my latest column as an outsider and to see if it made any sense. And she was like, wow, that, she really got a little emotional and stuff, and asked me a lot of questions about it. And so my point to that, I guess, is, that you said the sprint car family, that's what I talk about in the column is for a lot of us, Erin, you know this firsthand, that the racing fans and other racers and teams, they do become like a second family. And I don't care if you're a weekend warrior or run the World of Outlaws, you meet people all over the country or you go to the same track every weekend and you hang out with the same people, you become friends with some of them. And a lot of them you see more than you see your own family, your siblings and relatives and that kind of thing. So that part of it's big. And, to see everyone, as you said, wrap their arms around Johnson's family, and not just sprint car fans and racers. A lot of the NASCAR and NHRA and other racers too were well aware of Jason Johnson and what happened, and to see those guys and people reach out, that's pretty special.
Special indeed, that is for sure. Brad, I could talk to you all day long about the state of the sport and everything, but the clock on the wall says we need to start to wrap this up and continue on. Tuesday's race, the Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic, Tuesday night at Attica Raceway Park. Where can folks get tickets? What's the hotline? What do they need to do to make sure they're there?
Well, the easiest is AtticaRacewayPark.com or Woo Sprints. That's WOO Sprints.com. just click on their schedule, find our event July 10th, and you can go to the right, just click on buy tickets there. And we do have plenty of tickets still available. So, you know, a lot of people actually are buying even general admission to avoid the line, you know, on race day. So, you know, if you want to get your tickets ahead, that's the best place and easiest way to do it. And we look forward to seeing everyone there.
Going to be fun, that's for sure. We need to follow along and see where we're at from here, but we certainly hope everyone goes out and supports you on Tuesday night. Brad, a pleasure as always to get a chance to chat with you. Best of luck, best of fortune on Tuesday night, and stay away from those weather apps. Don't do that to yourself.
Get some sleep.
I know. I'm going to try really hard, but thank you guys, both of you, for what you do for the sport and to help promote this race and get me on to get the word out. I really, really appreciate it.
We appreciate you and love you to death. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Thank you, guys.
There we go. Brad Doty joining us. Wow, I mean, it's just, we've stated it multiple times, but you can't state it enough. What an amazing ambassador he is to the sport.
I mean, if you want to keep up with social media, you don't even have to follow anyone else. You just follow Brad Doty, and he retweets and keeps involved with enough sprint car people that all you need to do is follow him. He is so active on social media.
One of the absolute best follows on Twitter. There's no denying that is the case. And that does kick off the month of money. So we're going to be wide open over the next 4 or 5 weeks talking World of Outlaws and where they're going and how much money this guy's cashing in on and all of that stuff. But there is a whole bunch of racing between now and the month of, which that's weird, but it's just a whole lot of racing. Pennsylvania Speed Week tonight, Hagerstown, Maryland. Friday night, the Mitch Smith Memorial, $10,000 to win at Williams Grove. Saturday, Port Royal. Sunday, Sealands Grove, as we talked with Trey Starks, the big track portion of Speed Weeks, the half mile, the high speed portion of it. And man, if the first few nights of this thing haven't got you fired up in Pennsylvania, you better check your pulse. It's been amazing. It really has.
Yep, and the blue car will be back.
The blue car will be back. Yes, indeed. The blue car will be back some, and likely pretty stout, I would say, along the way. So great stuff at Pennsylvania. World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Cars. Friday and Saturday night, it's the FVP Platinum Battery Showdown up at Cedar Lake, Wisconsin. We mentioned this on our birthday calendar on Tuesday, but Saturday would have been Jason's 42nd birthday. And so they're going to run the feature on Saturday night. It's going to be 41 laps.
I like
and another very emotional weekend for the World of Outlaws. It was very emotional at Knoxville as everyone kind of tried to sort of get back to the routine. And, you know, it'll be another step in that process at Cedar Lake as everyone kind of sort of tries to get back to the routine. And going to be 41 laps on Saturday night in honor of Jason on his birthday. That would have been on Saturday. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, Friday and Saturday night, the Grizzly Nationals, Gallatin Speedway in Belgrade, Montana. I don't even know who came up with this idea. And I don't know if they should be congratulated or just slapped. This is the race where the winner gets out. 2 years ago was Blake Hahn. He swept the weekend. Last year was Wayne Johnson. And they bring this 2,000-pound grizzly bear out to pose in Victory Lane. I mean...
Yeah, I know, thank you.
They've lost their minds. But I mean, I hung out with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour guys at Skagit. They've lost their minds. I mean, I can say that with sincerity. But the Grizzly Nationals, it's almost like you're going down the backstretch, you're running in the lead spot with about a couple laps to go, and someone's giving you a little heat. It might be like, no, after you. No, I'm not going to meet Jack the Bear or whatever the bear's name is.
Oh, gosh. And the little trainer that's right there.
And the little trainer that's right there, yeah.
What are you really going to do?
We're going to try to find it and put it on Wing Nation. Wayne Johnson's story last year about the little trainer, the bear, claws, bald tire, photographers. It's classic. So great stuff. I'm telling you, we didn't get a chance to talk about this a lot last week because obviously the Jason Johnson story, but getting to spend some time with the ASCS National Tour guys at Skagit, there is not a better group of human beings anywhere on the planet than those guys and gals. And man, I am telling you what, I could go on tour with those guys and be happy as anything. Just a great group of people, that's for sure. Attica All-Star Circuit of Champions, Sharon Speedway going to be the home on Saturday night, the Lou Blaney Memorial. And so going to be always a great one. Of course, the Blaney family. We've talked about Dave and just the Blaney family.
Yeah.
Just an amazing family in the sport, and continues on in the NASCAR world with Ryan. Just amazing stuff. So the Lou Blaney Memorial Saturday night. IRA bumper-to-bumper sprints Friday night at Dodge County Fair Speedway in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Saturday night, they're teaming up with our friends at MOA for Fairbury American Legion Speedway. That's a great racetrack as well. How about this? Little home cooking if you're Erin Crocker in the day.
Yes.
Erin Evernham now. Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints, Central New York Speedway. They started last night, but tonight, Canandaigua. Friday night, Brewerton. Saturday night, Fulton. Sunday, Utica, Rome. You've probably got a lot of laps around all of those places.
Every single one of those tracks. And this race weekend goes back years. We used to do the 4th of July. It wasn't always the exact same tracks, but it was always a big weekend for the Empire Super Sprints.
I love that they do that. I just love that the Empire Super Sprints, great racing up in New York State. Just neat stuff. 410 racing along the way. Jackson County Speedway in Jackson, Ohio is the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Series. Our friends at Lernerville, they run on Friday night. River City Speedway have the NOSA Sprints on Friday night. Saturday, when we look at it, Atomic has the Freedom 40 for the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association. Butler Motor Speedway back at it for a regular program. The Fast Series is at Fremont. The NOSA Sprints on Saturday night are in Greenbush, Minnesota. Kendra, the Knoxville Raceway, 305s, 360s, and 410s, and it is getting bigger and bigger. In a couple weeks coming up, Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour rolls in for a regular show before the 360 Nationals, and then the Arctic All-Stars roll in. So batten down the hatches, Marion County, because business is picking up out there. And Wayne County Speedway has a regular show on Saturday night. I want to mention this as well. If you're go to the racetrack, okay, and that's just okay. I'm not big on ordering people around, but I'm telling you, go to the racetrack, okay. But if you can't go to the racetrack, log on to one of these pay-per-views or become a premium member with Racing Boys, or do what you need to do. The pay-per-view coverage is amazing, and you can find all of that where everything is just at one spot, and we'll have links to everything there. www.wingnation.com. That's wingnation.com, and then we've got blogs and vlogs and all the shows around there. I would make it, what I would do, that page that comes up when your computer first fires up? Yes. I would make it that.
The homepage.
The homepage. That's what I was looking for.
Or at least a favorite or a bookmark or one of those terms.
But we prefer homepage.
Yeah.
We prefer you be
default
our
homepage.
Yeah, default homepage, exactly. So great stuff there along the way. Speaking of great stuff, I want to mention our friends, Hefner Racing Products. A lot of times come on here and we talk about the different parts for the sprint cars, and I was thinking about this just walking into the trailers at Skagit and then at the All-Stars. And the stuff they have to organize trailers and shops, the HRP stuff is amazing. You look and everything has got a place and it's stacked and it's nicely done. It's not duct tape and bungee cord. It's great products that they have. So if you're setting up a shop, if you're thinking about going with a new trailer, check out Hefner Racing Products at www.hrpracing.com. That's hrpracing.com. And that rascal Jeff Wessel is on a week-long journey. I don't think he's racing this week. I think he's got all the four-wheelers out somewhere up in Wisconsin. Oh. Yeah, bless his heart. They had the campfire. I saw a picture on campfire, cold beer, and four-wheelers.
It's 4th of July week.
I know.
Mean, if you're not racing, what else are you going to do?
That's right, indeed. So great stuff there from Hefner Racing Products. Just wonderful people, just wonderful folks as well. I also want to remind you, coming up on Saturday on Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit on MAV TV, Erin Reitzel joins Ashley Stremme and I. That's at 8:30 and 11:30 in the morning. Hey, thanks to Brad Doty for joining us here today on the show.
This has been the Wing Nation Weekend Podcast, brought to you by Hefner Racing Products. The Wing Nation Weekend Podcast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.